there seems to have been a big falling out between former President Donald Trump and Republican Representative Mo Brooks. So in a recent interview, Brooks, who spoke at the January 6th Stop the Steal rally prior to the Capitol riots, while wearing a bulletproof vest, very strange, admitted that Trump kept urging him months and months after the election to overturn the election. Now, ABC reporter Ben Siegel detailed this on Twitter in a thread. He said Representative Mo Brooks told ABC that Trump asked him repeatedly on and off since September 2021 to, quote unquote, rescind the 2020 election results, of which, of course, he has no power to actually do, and remove President Joe Biden and then do a redo of the election. Gee, I wonder what direction that election would go to. So look, Brooks, and this is Ben Siegel pointing out how Brooks used the word rescind, that Trump had used the word rescind. Now, you can't actually do that. So, but what he was asking is basically, hey, Mo Brooks, what you need to do for me, be really, really tremendous if you were to just rescind the election. So you should send Joe Biden back and do a second election, a second election where I would win. You see, that's how that's supposed to work. See, I'm actually supposed to win. I'm not a loser. Losers don't win. In fact, winning is the opposite of losing. Do you understand, Mo? So I need to win, okay? I need to win. And of course, that's related to
big, massive dumps.
And so, well, obviously, he can't do that. You can't just rescind the election. There's no legal maneuver to actually be able to do that. And so now, of course, that's essentially this, what would be a soft coup. That's the Green Bay sweep. Or at least this thing, what Donald Trump is asking for is related to the Green Bay sweep. Now, that whole thing was, of course, detailed weirdly by Peter Navarro, who concocted it along with Steve Bannon and other Trump administration officials, Trump allies, pro-Trump groups, et cetera, that even sent fake electors to the National Archives. And so, look, that whole plan was to, and this is the way that it would have worked. On election night, they would have taken advantage of, first it hinged on Mike Pence saying no to the certification, which is a ceremonial role, basically asking the pitcher not to throw out the opening, asking for them to not throw out an opening pitch, which is just ceremonial. It doesn't really affect the game. But nonetheless, Mike Pence was supposed to do that, was supposed to not certify the election. That would have kicked off a 24-hour cycle of nonstop media propaganda from the right wing. And then, of course, they were going to focus on quote-unquote irregularities and voter fraud, and they're going to allege mass voter fraud, basically a whole thing that's supposed to confuse the public, but to get basically a signal for these fake electors and Republican allies to go and say, we don't know who the president is. I guess we're just going to have to keep Donald Trump in office. And maybe we'll do an election down the line, 2 years, 3 years, or just possibly never. We'll just never do another redo, and we'll just say that Donald Trump won. Interesting. So that's essentially what they were trying to do. So now Pence, of course, refused to go along with it. That's why Donald Trump hates Mike Pence. That's why he was okay with the entire, hang Mike Pence chant. Of course, they were saying hang my pants. I forget. Or just,
Mike Pounds.
Hang Mike Pounds. That's something else. Definitely not Mike Pence. No. But no, look, Donald Trump hates Mike Pence. He's not going to go and bring him on the ticket for 2024. And now Mo Brooks has joined. Yes, Mo Brooks has joined the chat, everybody. He is now in the refuse pile under the bus with Mike Pence. Great. Now, what's funny is that Mo Brooks is a staunch Trump ally. And he did pretty much everything he could to try to make sure that Donald Trump stays in power. But obviously the one thing, the bridge too far, is performing an open fascist coup for Donald Trump 7 months after the election. In fact, here's what he said to CNBC, quote, "As a lawyer, I've repeatedly advised President Trump that January 6th was the final election contest verdict, and neither the U.S. Constitution or the U.S. Code permit what President Trump asks, period." And then said this, quote, this is to ABC News, "We didn't get into the details of how it would work because it's legally impossible, and I explained that fairly promptly. Decertifying the election is impossible. There is no vehicle for this." And that's, again, this is coming from somebody who actually tried to do this. Brooks was involved with the plans to challenge the certification of Biden's victory. He is one of the more than 140 members of Congress who voted against accepting the results of Biden's win in several states. And so, no, not enough. Not enough. Now, look, we're lucky that Donald Trump's an idiot and that none of the things that he tried actually worked. But at the same time, the dangerous thing about Trump is not just, it's not that he's stupid. It's that he inspires certain people, right? He has emboldened the fascist far right here in the United States. There is a fringe group of people, of Republicans, that are fascist, and they're like, who cares about democracy? I don't care. I don't care about democracy. And so we're going to get into positions of power to overturn democracy. And so these extremists, these fundamentalists, the white nationalists, Trump was their guy. But lucky enough, he could not deliver. Now, the thing is, again, Trump's not a very smart person, but he also doesn't really care about the movement. The only thing that Donald Trump cares about is himself. And so I think that's ultimately his self-interest failed to win re-election. But that has not stopped him from doing what he's always done, using his enemies or using his influence, whatever he has left, to punish his political enemies. And that's what he's doing. In fact, look, his power to be kingmaker in the Republican Party, he still has a lot of influence in it, but that influence is starting, I think, to wane, at least among the establishment. And so it's still there. And here's a statement that he put out at Mo Brooks. He said, quote, "Mo Brooks of Alabama made a horrible mistake recently when he went woke and stated, referring to the 2020 presidential election scam, put that behind you, put that behind you. Despite the fact that the election was rife with fraud and irregularities," well, it was filled with fraud from Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't steal the election. But by the way, it's hilarious that he's using the word woke because he knows it's a dog whistle. But that's not what woke means. That's hilarious. Calling Mo Brooks woke. You're kidding. But now, along with that, Trump pulled his endorsement of Mo Brooks. In fact, this is hilarious, right? So he pulls back the endorsement, calls him woke, and then says, "You're on your own, buddy." Now, Brooks hit back on that, and here's what he said. I love this statement. "Well, the president calls me a woke. Well, there's not anybody in Alabama with a brain larger than the size of a pea who believes that Mo Brooks is a woke liberal." Well, look, I mean, it's true. You'd have to be stupid to believe that someone like Mo Brooks is woke. No, that guy's about as asleep as you can get. Maybe almost literally. But so now the fun thing is that he's also super salty that Donald Trump has turned on him, despite him being incredibly loyal to Trump. And in fact, he's basically going to say that Trump has been manipulated by somebody that both of them, both Mo Brooks and Donald Trump, despise. No, here it is. And it's not somebody that you would expect. He said it's disappointing, just like in 2017, President Trump lets Mitch McConnell manipulate him again. Every single negative TV ad against our campaign has come from McConnell and his allies. I wish President Trump wouldn't fall for McConnell's ploys, but once again, he has. Oh, that's so good. So he's saying that, in effect, that Donald Trump is so stupid that he's been manipulated by Mitch McConnell, that he's not smart enough, that he's being told what to do, falling into Mitch McConnell's trap. So that is fantastic because, look, Donald Trump hates Mitch McConnell. I'm sure the feeling is mutual. McConnell, not a fan of Donald Trump. But here's the thing. Mitch McConnell, I think actually is more dangerous than someone like Donald Trump in the long run. Because he's had a very, very long career of doing things to actually chip away at democracy as well. But to do so behind the scenes, right? So now, look, Mitch McConnell went along with Donald Trump. Why? Because of the donors. That's who Mitch McConnell works for, understand. And the donors were like, no, you get behind Donald Trump, and that's it. You know why? Because Donald Trump is the favorite. He's going to usher us into power so that we can get tax cuts and deregulation. That's what it is. And they absolutely delivered. In fact, really the only major piece of policy proposal that they had gotten through during the Trump presidency, when they had the majorities, is tax cuts, the gigantic tax cuts and deregulation. So that's what it is. Now, McConnell only started tweaking Trump after he lost the election and then tried to steal it on January 6th. A lot of the donors were not happy about this. And so understand that was the signal when the donors started saying, well, we're really not comfortable with shaking things up. We're only in it for tax cuts and deregulation. We got everything we wanted, but we're not in favor of whatever the hell Donald Trump is trying to do, which creates instability in the markets. Understand, their God is the stonks. All they care about is line go up on the stock market. And so that's what they're doing. And so understand that pretty much all their decision is based on what corporations and large donors want. And large donors did not want this instability from Trump. They did not want this takeover by white nationalists. Look, I'm not saying that they wouldn't be okay with white nationalists. They obviously would be, but they don't want a market disruption. Do it in a way, they say, hey, if you want to get rid of democracy, that's totally fine, they say. Do it in a way that doesn't affect our bottom line. That's it. Just be careful. Do what Mitch McConnell's doing, playing the long game, chipping away at regulations and making sure that more and more corporate money enters the political system. And that's, by the way, one thing that Donald Trump, well, he gotten a little bit of heat for at least a little bit, because he actually did, in some cases, reference early on when he was pretending to be a populist, the corrosive effect of money in politics. So I think it's very important to note. And look, not only that, but Trump, Republicans, the Republican Party, the establishment Republicans, they want to stay in power, right? Again, they don't believe in democracy, but they're not as dumb as Donald Trump. McConnell himself is an evil mastermind who's going to push, the voter suppression, the gerrymandering, the fixing the rules in order to continue to stay in power, or limit or blunt the power of Democrats when they're in power. And we see that. And it's all to deliver that agenda in service to corporate elites. Trump, as I've mentioned before, is only out to service himself. Now, getting back to Brooks. Brooks is screwed. He's got more problems than he can handle. His poll numbers are a disaster. He's polling at about 16.1% in a crowded primary field. Not good. His endorsement, the endorsement from Trump was probably his only chance. And even that at this point was a long shot. And so some people are, of course, speculating like, oh yeah, Donald Trump was looking into polls and, a very, very savvy guy. You know, he decided to make the political calculation that he would pull his endorsement because he doesn't want to be related to a loser. Well, okay, I can get that. I can get that he doesn't want to be associated with a loser. Then again, loyalty. And this was the final straw. I guess at the end of the day, Donald Trump wins this round because Mo Brooks is done. He ain't going to win re-election. And that's good, one piece of trash that's out. Then again, depending on who wins, if it's the Trump-endorsed candidate who might be even more loyal, well, that could also be a bigger problem. Because that person might actually be in favor of ending democracy.